Hi viewers, I'm delighted to bring another watch from Mido to you today, and this is the wonderful Ocean Star Tribute, a lovely reissue of a dive watch from I think 1961 originally, and it comes in this really smart presentation box, special 75th anniversary emblem celebrating when the Ocean Star range was first launched, which was 1944. This particular dive watch, I think, was launched in 1961, and it comes with this very nice hybrid leather strap as well. Very nice colour, that. So let's get this watch out and I'll go over the specs. Okay, the case size of this one is a very appealing size of 40.5 millimeters. It is 13.4 millimeters thick. The lug width is 21 millimeters and the lug to lug is 47 millimeters. And this is powered by that very popular Powermatic 80, the modified ETA movement by the Swatch Group, and that has a power reserve of 80 hours. A very reliable, accurate movement, that. And this has a water resistance rating of 200 meters and has a very attractive box domed sapphire crystal. I do love these Ocean Star watches from Mido. They provide some wonderful dive watches, and this Tribute is great. I do also have the non-vintage style Ocean Star. Just look at that, what a beautiful design that is as well. I'll just put that next to the vintage one. Gives you a good idea of the difference between a modern diver and a vintage style watch. The Tribute one is your typical vintage style diver, a smaller case size, a narrower bezel, the box domed crystal, flat markings on the dial, printed markings as opposed to applied, and a mesh style bracelet. I really am a big fan of vintage style dive watches, but the modern Ocean Star is equally beautiful, but in a very different way. So that's the two different Ocean Stars, one modern, one vintage. But this is the one we're looking at today. There is one thing that separates this from a lot of the other vintage reissue dive watches, and that's the fact that it has crown guards. Most of the other ones, from Certina, Rado, the Captain Cook, the Oris 65, they have no crown guards, which was much more common on dive watches in those days. However, this original one from 1961 also had crown guards, so they've got that right. It is a reissue of a dive watch that was quite rare in those days to have crown guards, but yeah, the original one did. It's also got the day-date complication, which is a bit more unusual, but I just think overall it just is such a lovely package. There is no brushed polishing on it at all. It's all very shiny, highly polished all around. The bracelet is all very glossy, and it is a very special bracelet. It's so well made, has that lovely drape effect, articulates beautifully. It really is very flexible, really good fit and finish. The clasp is great too, and as you can see, that's all super shiny as well. Unusual not to have a brushed polishing on the clasp. That's great, but that will get scratches quite easily, but it does look lovely. Really nice click. And you do have this extension as well, which also features on the modern Ocean Star. A lovely, well designed watch. The case back has that starfish design, beautifully done. And as you can see, this is the blue version, has that really rich blue dial, just a matte finish on it, but looks great with those white markings and the orange second hand. The bezel, it has a 60 click unidirectional action, really super solid though. It's one of the best bezel actions of these vintage dive watches actually. Excellent, and lines up perfectly. Got a Lume pip on there as well. The fit and finish is really superb actually. Such a well made watch. Now this one, it's not that cheap. They retail for around about $1,000, but that is a fair price I think for this watch. It's got a lot of good features. That domed crystal is sapphire, it's not acrylic, and the fit and finish is just really fantastic. Right, I'll pop that on the wrist to show you how that looks. Stunning, absolutely stunning. I do love this watch, I think it's really attractive. That bracelet is super comfortable. The lugs curve down nicely. It's the perfect size for the case. Just a very charming, pretty watch. I normally like to see some brushed polishing on a watch, but I think actually they made the right choice making this all super highly polished, because it just gives it that little bit of class, you know. It just makes it look a bit more dressy without being too blingy. It's just really perfect, I think. Wonderful. Okay, I'll just show you the Lume now, see how that looks. To be fair, it's a little bit underwhelming. It does have, appears to have brighter Lume on the hands and on the second hand as well, and the Lume pip, but the printed indices, they don't glow that brightly, which is disappointing. It's not terrible, but could be a lot better. Right, before I wrap up, I'll just zoom in on that gorgeous dial. That is flawless. The printing is super crisp. The paint on that second hand is really very well done. Just everything about this watch is so sharp and clean. Look at that lovely box dome sapphire crystal on there. Marvellous. I think it's the right choice to go for aluminium bezel insert on these rather than ceramic. Just would look too modern and blingy if it was ceramic. I think that's perfect. Very well printed on there as well. The crown is signed too, which is always nice to see. And that polishing is fantastic. Really good stuff. The bracelet links are really slick, and it's all held together with push pins, but very secure. Yeah, that is a very attractive, clean, legible dial. Now, if like me, you do really enjoy the appeal of vintage style dive watches, then check out a future video that I'll be doing very soon. I will be launching a video all about vintage style divers, a big comparison video on 8 different vintage dive watches. It's going to be great. Okay, well that's it for this quick review on the Mido Ocean Star Tribute. I think this is a great reissue of a very attractive dive watch, and they've really nailed the vintage style, I think. I do hope you enjoyed looking at this one. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.